a young couple, Nora and Alex. The two set out on a long road trip to get away from the hustle and bustle of the city and spend some peaceful time together.
Alex, I'm telling you, I saw that same black car turn 3 times.
Nora, hey, it's just a coincidence.
No, they are following us.
Everything is fine, I promise.
They are driving through a remote, deserted rural area. There is no sign of human civilization for miles, just a long, lonely road flanked by dense, dark trees. During the drive, Nora suddenly feels an urgent need to use the restroom. She asks Alex to pull over somewhere so she can relieve herself. Alex scans the road and spots a small, abandoned, shut-down shop. He pulls the car over. Nora gets out and walks behind the shop. But the atmosphere there feels strangely off. Behind the shop lies a blue tarp, accompanied by some discarded clothes and an old wallet scattered on the ground. Nora finds it odd that these items are lying around in such a desolate place, but she doesn't think much of it. However, just as she bends down near the blue tarp, her eyes fall upon a dried human skull lying right beside it. Seeing the skull sends a sharp shiver down Nora's spine. Terrified to her core, she panics and sprints back toward the car as fast as her legs can carry her. Out of breath, she frantically tells Alex about the human skull and the strange belongings behind the shop. Alex merely laughs it off, brushing it aside as an old prank or something someone simply left behind. He reassures her that there is nothing to worry about and steps on the gas. The two continue their journey. A little further down the road, they encounter an elderly woman whose car has broken down on the side of the road. Being a good Samaritan, Alex stops to help her. But as soon as Alex gets out to talk, the woman behaves extremely rudely toward him and acts particularly hostile toward Nora. Realizing that helping her is a lost cause and feeling increasingly uncomfortable, they decide not to waste any time and drive away, leaving her behind. As the afternoon turns into evening, hunger sets in. They spot a small, old roadside diner and decide to stop for a meal and a quick break. Upon stepping inside, they are greeted by an eerie, uncomfortable silence. The place is almost empty. They take a seat at a table and place their order. While waiting for their food, Alex notices a strange man sitting in the corner, staring at them intently without blinking. There is an unsettling, sinister look in his eyes. Alex grows annoyed, but to avoid a scene, he tries to ignore him and eats his burger. When they finish their meal and prepare to leave, the mysterious man suddenly approaches their table, grabs Nora forcibly by the arm, and murmurs something unnerving, instantly spiking the tension in the room. Furious, Alex shoves the man away, and the couple quickly exits the diner. Back in the car, they notice that the fuel gauge is running dangerously low. Fortunately, a small gas station appears just ahead. Alex pulls in to fill up the tank. While paying the bill, Alex asks the gas station attendant, a man named Andrew, if there is a cheap place to stay nearby for the night. Andrew gives a strange smile and replies that there is a place not too far down the road that is quite affordable and suitable for a stay. After paying, Alex and Nora drive off, completely unaware that Andrew is watching them go through the glass window with a creepy, sinister look in his eyes. Driving through the dark, Alex is completely exhausted and decides to head to the place Andrew recommended. However, Nora still feels an overwhelming sense of dread. She tries to persuade Alex not to stay there, sensing that something is terribly wrong. Alex explains that driving while exhausted is dangerous and that getting a few hours of sleep is the smartest choice. Reluctantly, Nora gives in. When they arrive at the motel, Nora's heart sinks. The place looks desolate, dark, and resembles an ominous, run-down mansion. However, seeing several cars parked in the yard reassures Alex, who notes that other guests are staying there too. Upon entering the building, they are met with a silence so deep it chills them to the bone. Not a single guest is in sight. There is only dust, decay, and old furniture. On the dining table lies a pile of dirty, empty plates, making it look as though a group of people had eaten there just moments ago. Puzzled, they move further inside and attempt to head upstairs when a caretaker suddenly appears out of nowhere. The caretaker's face looks strangely distorted and terrifying, unsettling Nora even further. Exhausted, Alex decides to stay anyway, and the caretaker leads them to a room. Inside, they are surprised to find that it is not a standard hotel room. Instead, it contains multiple beds, resembling a dormitory. The caretaker explains that the place used to be a scout camp for children, but since visitors are rare now, it has been opened to the public. After the caretaker leaves, Nora expresses her deep unease, convinced that something isn't right. Unbeknownst to them, hidden on one of the beds are dried bloodstains. Since it is late and they are exhausted, they simply wash up and try to get some rest. While they sleep soundly, they have no idea that a man is hiding behind a cage in the corner of the room. Wearing a terrifying goat mask, the man silently watches them in the dark. The next morning, when Nora regains consciousness, a blood-curdling scream escapes her throat. She is no longer in the motel room. She has been locked inside a small iron dog cage. Her hands and feet are bound, leaving her completely immobilized. Panic-stricken, she screams and frantically rattles the bars of the cage. Hearing her cries, two figures approach. Both are wearing animal masks, one a cow mask and the other a goat mask. Showing no mercy, they approach Nora and inject her with a sedative, knocking her unconscious once again. When Nora wakes up next, she finds herself inside a dark, filthy warehouse. She is tightly bound to a chair, her legs forcibly spread apart. Trembling with fear, she watches as a woman wearing a rabbit mask approaches her. Without a word, the woman produces a large syringe and plunges it into Nora's body. Nora screams in agony. The liquid feels searingly hot and painful. The most horrifying reality is that the fluid is male semen. The captors are forcefully impregnating her. Shortly after, two masked men enter the warehouse, drag Nora from the chair, and throw her into a large iron cage. As they transport her, Nora witnesses a scene beyond human comprehension. Dozens of masked people are walking around, carrying out daily chores as if it were an ordinary village. But the reality is pure evil. Right before her eyes,
Wait, please!
Nora sees a man being
Don't take him
executed
away!
by hanging.
No, no, no.
She is then
Please, let
wheeled
me
into a
hold
large
him.
building. This place is an actual human farm, where human beings are raised, milked, and slaughtered like livestock. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to Alex. He wakes up inside a cage, completely stripped of his clothes. As he looks around, he realizes that several other men are caged in the exact same condition. The farm is strictly divided into two sectors, one for females and one for males. Minutes later, three masked men enter the area. Without a shred of pity, they approach one of the male captives and brutally crush his head with a blunt weapon. Blood splatters everywhere. Seeing this, Alex goes wild with terror and begins screaming hysterically. But his panic only marks him as their next target. The masked men turn toward him, step up to his cage, and with a single brutal blow, crush Alex's skull, killing him instantly. Following Alex's murder, the remaining male captives are taken to the butchering room. There, human bodies are processed just like animal meat. Their clothes, watches, rings, and wallets are collected and sorted. A man wearing a pig mask leaves the room carrying a plastic bag filled with severed human body parts. He casually walks through the village, and none of the locals pay him any mind. To them, this horrific task is just a normal routine. The pig-masked man walks up to his boss, who turns out to be Foulon, the very same caretaker from the motel. Foulon inquires about the dinner preparations and heads to the kitchen to ensure everything is running smoothly. At that moment, Foulon receives a phone call from the top boss, who announces that he will be arriving tonight and demands that a special meal be prepared for his arrival. Foulon and the pig-masked man then head over to the female section. Here, the true horror of the operation is revealed. The women are not only forcibly impregnated, but they are also used as human milking machines. Their milk is continuously pumped, bottled, and sold. This place is not just a farm, it is an industrial factory of human body exploitation.
Please!
One of the captive
Don't
women
take
is seen
him
weeping
away!
silently,
No,
clutching
no,
her
no.
newborn baby.
Please
The
let me
pig-masked man
hold
approaches her,
him.
snatches the infant directly from her arms, and places the child on a weighing scale. Immediately after, without a second thought, he kills the baby and tosses the tiny body into a trash bin. The mother can only cry in helpless silence, completely broken by the overwhelming cruelty. Shortly after, Andrew, the gas station worker, enters the room. In a fit of rage, he grabs a bottle of human milk and gulps it down. He then snaps, shouting insults at the captive women for no apparent reason. Meanwhile, Foulon receives a phone call from an angry customer complaining that a human tooth was found in his previous meat order. Foulon is furious. Suddenly, the goat-masked man
I'm
comes
not
running
leaving
in,
you.
announcing that there is an emergency in the female cages.
They're getting
When
closer.
Foulon arrives, he finds one of the pregnant women dead, a sharp wooden stake driven through her body. Carved onto the wood is the name, Andrew. Fulon immediately realizes that Andrew is responsible and orders his men to hunt him down at once. Back in the cages, Nora attempts to speak to a woman caged right next to her. The woman's name is Ashley, and she is severely weakened and abused. Nora swears to Ashley that she will break them both out and free all the other women trapped in this nightmare. Meanwhile, the goat-masked man searches the surrounding woods for Andrew and finds him engaged in a horrifying act. Andrew is trying to feed tree leaves to a severed human head. It is clear that Andrew has completely lost his sanity. The goat-masked man drags Andrew back to Fulon. As punishment for destroying a valuable production source, Fulon assigns Andrew to feed the male captives, under the strict supervision of the pig-masked man. While distributing food, Andrew grows frantic, accidentally knocks over a food bucket, and bolts away. He later returns to Fulon carrying a handful of wild plants. Fed up with Andrew's madness, Fulon does not even bother to punish him further. Instead, he issues a new order to the pig-masked man: slaughter all the women who are no longer capable of producing milk. Right in front of Nora's eyes, a female captive who can no longer produce milk is dragged out of her cage and executed on the spot. Her body is immediately hauled off to the butchering room to be processed into meat. Overwhelmed by the slaughter, Nora is on the verge of passing out when a figure suddenly appears in front of her.
Go!
It's Alex. Alex is still alive.
You have to
He had
get out
managed
of
to
here
survive
right
the initial
now.
massacre and escape the slaughterhouse. Without wasting a second, Alex unlocks Nora's cage and tells her to run. They sprint across the farm compound and find an old truck, hoping to use it to escape. But the truck engine
have to go
fails to
on.
start. With no other option, they flee
I'm
into the
not
woods on
leaving
foot
you.
and take cover inside an abandoned church. However,
They're getting
a masked
closer.
farmer tracks their footprints right to the church. Forced to run again, they sprint through the dense forest with everything they have. Suddenly, Alex steps directly onto a heavy bear trap hidden in the brush. The sharp iron teeth snap shut, clamping brutally onto his leg and crushing the bone. Alex screams out in excruciating pain and collapses to the ground. Knowing he cannot walk, let alone run, Alex begs Nora to leave him behind and save herself. Heartbroken and sobbing, Nora leaves Alex behind and runs back toward the farm. The masked farmers quickly surround the helpless Alex and crush his skull with a massive stone, killing him on the spot. Nora manages to sneak back into the farm compound and reaches the male cages. She approaches a man who appears conscious and frantically asks him if there is any way out. The man tells her that their only chance of escape is a bus parked on the edge of the property, but the keys are kept inside the guard's house. Determined to keep her promise to Ashley, Nora hurries back to the female cages and tells Ashley to run with her. They sprint toward the parked bus at the edge of the farm. But upon
I
reaching
am
the
the
vehicle,
caretaker here.
Nora realizes with
I
horror
did
that
not
she forgot
expect
to grab the
guests.
keys. She tells Ashley to hide near the bus while she sneaks back to the guard's house. Overcoming her terror, Nora manages to steal the key and sprints back to the bus. Nora slides into the driver's seat, inserts the key, and cranks the engine to life. Relieved, she turns to Ashley and declares that they made it. But as both women look toward the back of the bus, their hearts freeze in sheer horror. Every single seat in the bus is occupied by the masked farmers. They are sitting there in complete silence, patiently waiting for them. There is no escape. There is no hope left. In the final scene of the film, a long dining table is elegantly set for a grand dinner party where
Alex,
the boss
I'm
and his
telling you, I
associates
saw
are
that
gathered.
same black car
Positioned at
turn
the center
3
of the table,
times.
Nora, hey,
fully
it's just a
roasted and served
coincidence.
as the main course,
No,
are the
they
bodies
are
of two
following
women.
us.
Those
Everything
two
is
bodies
fine,
belong
I
to none
promise.
other than Nora and Ashley. The dark,